Alright, so it's been a little bit before since the last time that I've kind of made an update on the F-14 here, but all my Bricklink orders came in, so the thing is pretty much done as far as Lego goes. All I need to do is finish up the instructions and sticker sheets, stuff like that, so I'll let everybody know when that happens, but for right now, the actual build itself is pretty much done. All together, it's got all the correct parts in all the areas. It's got the red vertical stabilizer tips for VF1 because that's the squadron that I'd like to do, and yeah, it's pretty much done from basically every angle or from every point. I got my clear canopy pieces in, which is really nice. It looks a lot better than the trans blue ones that used to be there, as well as some more white pieces to, whoops, let's not go too far in the exposure there, come on, there we go. Some more white pieces to finish out the underside of the kind of the white-bellied naval planes kind of thing right here. You can basically see that the thing is still really strong and I can still hold it, kind of like the last video. I'm not going to go over too much of stuff that hasn't changed this last video, but quite a lot has actually. Probably one of the biggest things is the wings actually changed a little bit. If you notice really carefully here, they're actually swept over the vertical stabilizers slightly. I mean horizontal stabilizers, or the elevons or whatever. And that's actually something that the Tomcat did when it was on the deck, is the wings were actually able to sweep over into a carrier deck configuration. So that this Tomcat is now able to actually sweep all the way over past the limit of where it would be when it's in flight. So normally, of course, the wings can still do the normal opening, just like the actual Tomcat did, right? So it's got its wings open for flying at slow speeds, and then we can pull the wings back. This is where they'd sit for supersonic speeds, right in line with the elevators, but so the elevators can still go up and down without getting in the way. And then for on the deck, it would be able to go just a little bit further to pull them in and keep the plane as thin as possible for storage. So that's actually a pretty cool little detail. So that's a little bit of a difference from last time. What was the next thing? Oh, the rear landing gear are completely functional properly now. Before I had a little piece that you had to take out in there, but now, here, I'll actually retract it for you. You can actually see all the way in. So we open this door up. We now have a door which actually moves like this, like the real Tomcat would, to completely enclose it. So if we pull this guy back right here, and we, whoops, can't, it's kind of looking at this thing backwards on the camera. Pull that guy out, and we can stow the landing gear without getting everything stuck, preferably like that. And then the back door closes, this door closes, and this door closes. Oh, we went wrong order. Oh, God. There we go. Like that. And now it's completely stowed away. Really actually nice, pretty cleanly. A lot better than it was, in my opinion, because now it's a little bit more realistic, and then you put the Sparrow back on. But the nice thing is you don't have to take the whole hard point off to do this. You only need to take off the Sparrow because it just kind of gets in the way of this flap right here on that door. So that part is actually still pretty much the same. The model still uses the same stand actually. So here, we'll quickly, light speed, quickly retract the other one in the front one. We can put it on its stand. I'm really happy with how the landing gear turned out, because I've seen a lot of people in their solutions for the Tomcat landing gear, but normally you have to take some sort of liberty in some area to make it work, because it's you know, it's only Lego. But I'm actually pretty happy with this. This is fairly realistic how the actual model would work for crap. That thing just fell on the floor. Oh no. We'll have to grab it in a second. Oh no. Here, come on. Come on, there you go. Everything doesn't work when it's on camera, it's great. Anyways, the front landing gear was shown last time, and it does work most of the time. I need to stop hitting the vertical stabilizers on the table. Start paying attention to what I'm doing here. This is fun. Why isn't that going? Okay. There's the piece we lost. Here we go. All right. That took way longer than it should have. But we are here. Oops. Are we on the stand? I think we're on the stand. I think we're on the stand. We're good. All right. So we get our Tomcat. Here, we'll move the wings out a little. We get our Tomcat on the stand, which is pretty much like it was last time. There's a few little differences. Basically, the intakes are a lot cleaner than they once were. There's actually a little feature. I can't remember if it was in the last video or not, but I'll show it. Here, I'll pull this intake off to show you. So inside the intake, I actually got pretty creative with the intake ramps, because as many people know, that jet fighters have variable intake ramps to adjust how much air is coming through and where it's being directed. So as it goes closer to supersonic speed, they start deploying intake ramps and stuff like that. So this one, you have to use a little crowbar to get in there because your figures can't quite fit, but you can actually reach in and you can actually pull up the intake ramp. And of course it can come out way too far, but you can kind of pose it, right? And then you can put it all the way back in for when it's flying at slow speeds for the maximum air input, like that. Yeah, so those were actually pretty cool. Those were tiny little details, but I thought that was really awesome that they were able to fit in there. What else? Oh, I redesigned the Phoenix from last time, I do believe. Much cleaner looking now. Much cleaner looking. Much cleaner. They're a little bit weaker because they only attach by the one little stud there, but the little fairing is also a lot smaller and it fits on quite a bit more seamless than the old style. And it takes up a lot less room than the previous design did, which I'm really happy with. Put it back on. Yeah, no, basically, most of the changes that have been done, I redid the spine area of the plane a little bit to make it a little bit more seamless to how the actual Tomcat looks. The cockpit got changed a little bit. We can open up the cockpit. We got our actual little pilots in there now. We'll actually pull the pilot out. These guys are actually just using complete Lego parts. This is a Star Wars Lego torso and leg piece from a Lego A-Wing pilot. And then I've just used the, I think it was the Air Police City parts, which were for the breathing apparatus and the Dart trans-black visor, which is really awesome because they fit like perfectly. And I got my guys white helmets for VF1 because their helmets are white with red markings, so we'll add that on there too. And the interior of the cockpit hasn't changed much, except I did add a posable throttle, which is pretty cool. So now my pilot actually has a throttle in stick, although I can't really show that with the camera on the tripod, but it is there. But all the armaments have basically been redesigned. We got a new set of sidewinders, which are, get this coming off, a little bit more stick-like to what they're actually supposed to look like. It's pretty good. They're all scaled pretty much properly. When I was doing the Phoenix design, the Sparrow design, here's a Sparrow. These guys are, I don't think these guys have changed much since the last video. But they're actually all designed given how, by length and the size of what the original, like what they are in real life. So they're actually scaled properly together, which is really awesome. And then of course we got a boring old drop tank. But of course you gotta have drop tanks, right? Completes the whole thing together. All right, yeah, and then besides that, nothing too much else has changed. I can't remember if this air brake might be different. A little bit of a different shape than it was before, but it's pretty realistic. The engines, I think, I made them a little bit wider, so they sit out a little bit like a larger set of engines, which is good because it scales it better with the model. Because this is a 1/35th scale model, so it's a little bit bigger than even the Brickmania model, which I'm happy to see that so many people are commenting about how how similar this one is, because that's an awesome compliment, because those guys spent a lot of time on that build, and I'm really happy that this one looks so, at least even, I'm happy that this even gets on the same page as theirs. But just to be clear, no, this is an original design. The parts that could be similar to the Brickmania Tomcat are the nose, like right here, and a little bit up here, although it's shortened and it's squished and it's a little bit more seamless with the actual front of the nose. It's a little bit different if you look at especially on the underside of their nose, how it looks completely different. And of course the canopy design, here, I'll take the canopy off. The canopy design is of course pretty similar to that as well, but this is pretty common for people who have been building F-14s recently, because it fits the shaping really nicely, and I don't think that there's any other way I could do a better job without it. Like, I think this is pretty much the only way to do a good Lego F-14 canopy without vacuum forming pieces or something like that. So I don't have any problem, but I also don't have any shame in admitting that's where I got the idea from. Is their video was incredibly helpful with some solutions to this, although at the end of the day, this model is bigger. It's I'm probably gonna say it's a little heavier. It's missing the wing mechanism to open the wings up with the gear at the back. It doesn't even have that at all, which I actually really would have liked to have had, but I gave up a long time ago trying to put a mechanism through there because it's so thin. This little area back here is so thin, and it has to be with the air brakes on the up side and the bottom, and the shaping is just so complicated. Putting them, I'm sure it's possible, but I wanted to keep the back end as thin as possible to make it as realistic as possible, right? So here, if we can get a look at the back side, like it's really not thick. You can see right there, it's like maybe two bricks right there, and that's about it. So it's something really tough, and I think it's really cool that they got it to work, but you can tell if you watch their release video, they had to build around it, and I think that's really awesome that they did, because it's a cool place feature. But at the end of the day, I don't think having to open up the wings is that bad of a thing. Which reminds me, the wings got slightly improved since last time, or not the wings, but like the back of the wings. So it used to have, I think it was, did I have 2 sections of flaps, or maybe 1 section of flap? So it turns out the actual Tomcat has 3. It has an outer, it has an inner, and it has an auxiliary flap. So it's actually got all 3 sections, which can move up properly right now. But on top of that, it's also got the 3 sections of spoilers. I think before I had 2. There's actually 4 in real life, but I couldn't fit the 4th one in. So there's only so much room in there. And of course the slats are still there, but they haven't changed at all. So I won't bother messing around with them too much. Vertical stabilizers, of course, still move pretty nicely. And I still like the look of them. I don't think those are going to change. I experimented. I thought the slope of the vertical stabilizer might have been a little bit too steep. So I experimented with moving the slope pieces so they were like studs out this way, so that it could have a more shallow slope like some other people have done. But I thought the look of that, it just looked too shallow of a slope, which I don't know. I think this is fine, and getting this to work with that was like, I couldn't do it. I tried for like days to actually try to prototype a way to get studs from going like facing out this way to then also facing out this way at the back to attach the stabilizer, and it was such a mess. I mean, I've kind of given up with that, so I think we're just gonna leave it like this, and I think it looks pretty good. Generally, I think it gives it's got the right look. I think definitely got the right style. Yeah, and of course they're very slightly angled outwards. It's hard to tell, but if you look at the back side, you can kind of see. Yeah, there you go. This one needs to be angled a little bit more. Not quite like the F-18. You don't want to have it mistaken for the F-18, but which I have some of those built downstairs actually for the F-18 stuff that I'm doing right now. But they do slant out a little bit because the real thing did too, very, very slightly though. So I like the fact that I was able to do that. What else is going on here that I haven't mentioned? There isn't too much that's changed. It's mostly the back landing gear are finally realistic. I think that's basically what's happened. Is all the correct pieces are in the right colors now. Basically getting to the point where I'm ready to start putting stickers on this guy, so working on those. And then hopefully have some instructions out soon, because I know some people are interested in being able to build this guy, but they're almost done. They're working. I just have to actually like work on how the steps are put in place, because it turns out this guy is not the easiest build. definitely not the most intuitive either. Some of it's pretty crazy, and I didn't really think about it when I was designing it, because I don't really think about instruction making when I design stuff. I just build it. But it's definitely worked out pretty good, I think, so far. Generally speaking, I think this is pretty much as good as it's gonna get as far as the shaping for a 1/35 scale Tomcat. I don't think there's too much else I could really do to this guy to make it too much better. Well, who knows, maybe in a month or so I'll be like, oh, I could have changed that and it would have looked a lot better or something. But I don't know. I think for right now though, this is pretty much it, and it works pretty good. So yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching. The other video got a lot of support on it, like 1,000 people or something like that. Like, that's insane. I didn't expect that. I thought it would just be kind of cool to show off what was going on, but I thought the other video stuff has been updated since then, so I didn't want to just have that be the only video out, whereas this is what it actually looks like now, which is, I think, a lot better than it did. I mean, not that the other one didn't look good, it's just this one has the right colored canopy, everything's right, some details are changed to be more realistic, and I think altogether this guy's pretty much done now. So yeah, so thanks for tuning in. I know this is, I had a lot of trouble with that one landing gear, so sorry that took a long time to do that, but yeah, thanks for watching, and yeah, we'll make another video soon about if something changes, or when I get stickers on this guy, or when the instructions are done, and we can start talking about the changes that happen there. So yeah.